The first thing I saw wasn't my bank balance. It was the text message. "You owe me this for dealing with Mom all these years, Deno hello." No explanation. Just entitlement, sitting there on my phone at 6:12 a.m., glowing in the dark like a threat. My stomach tightened before I even opened my banking app, like my body already knew what my mind hadn't caught up to yet. The screen loaded, then refreshed, then showed $0.00. I blinked. Once. Hard enough that my eyes burned. That account wasn't spending money. It wasn't a rainy day fund. It was $185,000, saved dollar by dollar, audit bonus by audit bonus, sleepless night by sleepless night. That money was for my daughter. Rebecca is 10 years old. She was born with a condition that left her right leg underdeveloped. The surgery scheduled for this summer wasn't optional or cosmetic. It was the difference between her walking unassisted or spending her teenage years in pain, braces, and hospital corridors that smelled like disinfectant and fear. I'd labeled the account clearly, Rebecca Surgery Fund. And now it was emptied. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't even move at first. I just sat there, listening to the refrigerator hum, the house still asleep, my coffee growing cold in my hands. Then instinct kicked in. Not panic, not grief, but something sharper. I opened the transaction log. There it was. A single transfer. Large. Clean. Confident. Done from an iPhone, authenticated, no hesitation. The metadata didn't lie. Device ID. Location tag. Account destination. The same brother who'd always complained that Mom was too much. The same brother who liked to remind everyone he was the one who stayed. As if proximity earned commission. Apparently in his mind it did. He hadn't stolen from me. He'd collected. I thought I would feel like the nice, helpful sister who'd been betrayed. The one who babysat, lent money, smoothed things over at holidays. I didn't. I felt like a forensic auditor who had just found her next target. Because this wasn't an accident. It wasn't desperation. It was justification. And justification leaves patterns. Trails. Mistakes. Before I tell you how this ended, before I tell you how my daughter became the most dangerous person in this family, pause for a second. Drop a comment and let me know where you're listening from, because what Travis did next and what I did after turned every family dinner, every phone call, every lie upside down. And once you steal from a child who can't defend herself, you don't get mercy, you get audited. People keep asking the same question once they hear what happened. Why would a forensic auditor, someone trained to spot fraud for a living, ever give her unemployed brother access to her account? The answer is uncomfortable. And it's not about stupidity or blind trust, it's about stories. Financial abuse doesn't start with a theft. It starts with a narrative that gets repeated so often it feels like truth. I and my family. That story was simple and cruel. I was the selfish one. I moved away from my career, chased fancy titles and corporate money, and left my responsibilities behind. Travis, on the other hand, was the saint. He stayed. He sacrificed. He dealt with Mom's moods, her appointments, her late-night phone calls. Every family conversation circled back to that comparison like a moral scoreboard I could never win. Success, I was told, looked a lot like abandonment. And abandonment came with a bill. 4 years ago. That bill came due. I was in a hospital bed, both legs crushed after a multi-car accident on the highway. Morphine blurred the edges of the room, but not the fear. I remember staring at the ceiling tiles, wondering if I'd ever walk without pain again, wondering how long I'd be unable to work, wondering how much all of this was going to cost. That's when Travis leaned over my bed and sighed. Long, heavy, practiced. "I can't carry everything alone, Julia," he said quietly, like he was doing me a favor by not raising his voice. "Mom's getting worse. The house. The bills. You're not here, and I'm drowning." Then the pivot. "You have the fancy job. I have the burden." It didn't feel like manipulation in that moment. It felt like guilt mixed with gratitude mixed with obligation. I was vulnerable, drugged, scared, and desperate to still belong. So when he suggested a solution, temporary, reasonable, family first, I agreed. I added Travis as an authorized user on my account. "Just for emergencies," he said. "Just until things stabilize." That was the day the trap closed. At first, it really was small. Groceries. A utility bill he swore was overdue. Each charge came with a story. Each story wrapped in exhaustion and sacrifice. I told myself I was being a good sister, helping him get on his feet, doing my part. Then the emergencies started getting louder and more expensive. A bar tab here. A new gaming console there. A work-related truck lease that turned into a $60,000 luxury vehicle with leather seats and a sound system nicer than my living room. I drove a 10-year-old sedan with a cracked bumper that rattled when I hit 40 miles an hour. Travis parked his truck in the underground garage of a luxury condo, one where I'd paid the security deposit because he was short that month. My rental had plumbing that screamed every time I turned on the shower. His condo had floor-to-ceiling windows and a concierge who knew him by name. Still, I lied to myself. I told myself this was temporary, that he'd pay me back, that family didn't keep score, that I was strong enough to carry a little extra weight. The truth took longer to land, but when it did, it hit hard. I wasn't helping him. I was paying rent for my place in the family. Every transfer was a monthly subscription fee to be tolerated, to be included, to be forgiven for leaving. And somewhere along the way, Travis stopped seeing the money as mine at all. In his mind, it was already his compensation for the life he claimed he'd given up. So when he drained the account, he didn't think he was stealing. He thought the subscription was paid in full. What he didn't understand was this. When you drain the account, you also cancel the subscription. The sad, guilty sister died the moment I saw that balance hit zero, and it was time to see exactly what my brother had been buying with my silence. I cracked my knuckles and logged into the forensic dashboard. For years, I'd used these tools to track cartel money launderers, shell corporations, and executives who thought moving money through 5 layers of consulting fees made them invisible. I knew what real criminals looked like in the data. The patience, the discipline, the silence. I never thought I'd be using the same dashboard to hunt my own brother. I didn't start with a bank app. That's what amateurs do. Apps show you what they want you to see. Rounded numbers, friendly labels, clean timelines. I pulled the raw transaction metadata instead. Device fingerprints, authentication logs, time drift between authorizations. The digital equivalent of footprints in wet cement. The money didn't go where Travis said it did. It didn't land in his personal account. It didn't even land in a domestic savings account. Moved, pressed, clean, through a series of digital hops designed to look legitimate if you didn't know where to look. Micro delays, rounded transfers, vendor-style naming conventions. He was trying to launder it. That's when I realized something important. Travis wasn't a criminal mastermind. He was just a guy who watched too many movies and thought crime looked like confidence. He copied techniques without understanding why they worked, which meant he made mistakes. Big ones that I followed the money through 3 hops before it hit a holding entity. Obsidian Ventures LC. The name alone made my jaw tighten. I cross-referenced it through federal and private databases I still had access to. Systems built to flag anomalies, not stories. Obsidian Ventures lit up like a flare. Prior investigations. Suspicious activity reports. Known associations with an online gambling ring routed through Eastern Europe. This wasn't just family theft anymore. This was federal wire fraud. Money laundering. Conspiracy. The air in my office felt heavier as the implications settled in. Travis hadn't just stolen from me. He'd pulled my daughter's surgery fund into a pipeline the government watches very, very closely. If this went sideways, and it always does, everyone connected to the origin account gets scrutinized. That's when the thought crystallized, cold and clean. He wasn't just a thief anymore. He was a liability to the United States government. I kept going that I pulled location data next. Not guesses. Not vibes. His phone's Find My History told a very different story than the one he'd been selling the family. The doctor appointments he claimed were draining his time. His phone pinged at the Lucky 7 casino, right on the state border. Over and over. Different days. Different times. Same place. That I reconstructed the timeline hour by hour. The losses. The desperation. The spike in gambling activity right before the transfer from my account. He didn't take the money because he was owed, he took it because he was losing. I sat back in my chair, surrounded by screens full of proof, when I felt a presence at the doorway. Rebecca. She was still in her pajamas, hair pulled into a crooked ponytail, standing too quietly for a 10-year-old. Her eyes moved from the screens to my face, then back again. Not scared, not confused, just focused. "Did Uncle Travis take my leg money?" she asked. I didn't soften it. I didn't lie. I didn't protect him with silence. "Yes," I said. She nodded once. No tears, no shaking, no dramatic inhale. Just acceptance, like a chess player recognizing the board has changed. Then she looked at me and said very calmly, "Then we take him down." It wasn't a question. It was a directive. And in that moment, the power shifted. There's a massive legal difference between "my sister said I could use the account" and "I conspired to commit wire fraud." One is a family dispute. The other comes with federal statutes, minimum sentences, and men in suits who don't care about your excuses. Intent is everything. And intent leaves evidence. I started with text messages. Years ago, when Travis's phone had finally given up the ghost, I'd bought him a new iPhone. Added him to my family sharing plan so he could download apps, back things up, feel supported. At some point, he was supposed to leave the plan. We both forgot. Or more accurately, I forgot that he didn't. Family sharing meant access. Not to my current messages, but to cloud-level archives. Old conversations. Deleted threads. Metadata that never really disappears. I logged into the cloud dashboard and let the system rebuild what he thought was gone. That's when I found the smoking gun. 2 hours before I confronted him. Before he ever knew I'd noticed the missing money. Travis had been texting a woman saved in his phone as Nicole Kissmark. "It's done," he wrote. The mark finally paid up. All of it. Every cent. 185 grand. "We're going to Cabo, baby. First class." I stared at the word mark until it blurred. That was what I was to him. Not a sister. Not a savior. Not even an ATM. A mark. This wasn't desperation. It wasn't panic or survival. It was entitlement wrapped in confidence. He didn't steal because he needed groceries or rent. He stole because he felt he deserved a vacation on my dime. The evidence kept stacking. I cross-referenced the texts with his alibi. He'd told the family he spent 3 hours at the hospital with Mom that day. Long wait. Stressful. Exhausting. Poor Travis. His GPS told a different story. For 4 straight hours, his phone sat in the same spot at the Lucky 7 casino. No movement. No hospital. No parking lot. Just a blinking dot over the gaming floor. I lined it up with timestamps and felt something in my chest finally go still. 2:14 p.m. He texted me asking for gas money. At 2:15 p.m. His phone pinged an ATM inside the casino. Withdrawal $20. Balance 0. He gambled it away. The last of his cash died. 2:47 p.m. The transfer from my account hit. The picture was complete now. He lost. He walked back to his truck. He sat there, humiliated and angry, and decided the solution wasn't to stop gambling. It was to rob his sister. I realized my hands weren't shaking anymore. The panic had burned off, leaving something cleaner behind. Colder. I wasn't reacting now. I was organizing. I created a folder on my desktop and named it Evidence. Screenshots, logs, location data, message archives. I dragged each piece in, methodical, precise. That's when Rebecca appeared again. She wasn't asleep. She was sitting on the floor with her tablet, screen glowing, scrolling through the banking app I'd left open earlier. She looked up at me. "Is it gone?" she asked quietly. "Yes," I said. She nodded, absorbing it, then repeated the words like a vow. "Then we take him down." She pulled up a chair beside me, climbed into it, and leaned closer to the screens. "I can help," she said. "I know where he hides his passwords." I smiled then, but not a nice smile. It was the smile of a woman who had just realized she wasn't fighting alone. "All right," I said, sliding the keyboard toward us. "Let's get to work." I didn't call the local police. People always ask why, like it was some moral test I failed. But anyone who's ever dealt with financial crime knows the truth. Local cops take reports. They nod. They give you a case number. Then they tell you to call your bank and hope for the best. They can't stop a wire transfer already routed through an offshore shell company. But the United States Treasury can. That's why I opened the secure work portal instead. I still had access to a direct reporting line to FinCEN, the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. It's not something most people ever see. Clean interface. No drama. No flashing lights. Just fields, checkboxes, and one deceptively boring phrase. Suspicious activity report. Normally, SARs crawl through the system. Sometimes weeks. Analysts review them between coffee refills. But there's a category that skips the line entirely. One that doesn't wait for a human to drink their coffee. International money laundering. Terrorist financing indicators. I checked the boxes carefully, truthfully. Offshore gambling ring. Shell company. Structured transfers. Vulnerable victim account. And then I hit submit. It felt like calling in an airstrike on my own bank account. The system reacted instantly. Not a freeze, a lockdown. Automated defenses rippled outward from the source account like shockwaves. Every account that had touched the money locked up. Travis's personal checking. His savings. The Obsidian Ventures shell account. All of it turned to ice. He wasn't going to Cabo. He wasn't going anywhere. 10 minutes later, my phone rang. I let it ring twice. Then a third time. I wanted his panic to marinate. When I answered, I didn't say hello. I just listened. "What did you do?" Travis screamed. "What the hell did you do, Julia?" I closed my eyes and became someone else. I channeled every ounce of the scared, submissive sister I used to be. I pitched my voice up an octave, let it wobble. I don't know," I said. "I think I was hacked." There was a pause. Sharp breathing. "You called the feds on me," he said. I let fake tears spill into my voice. "I'm scared, Travis. Everything's frozen. I don't know what's happening." Then I dangled the bait. "That was Rebecca's surgery money," I whispered. "If it's frozen, I can't get it back. You have to help me." Silence that I could almost hear the calculations firing behind his eyes. He needed that money unfrozen. Not for me, but for whoever Obsidian Ventures answered to. People who don't accept excuses. People who don't care about family dynamics. He thought I was a confused, terrified woman who'd tripped an alarm she didn't understand. "Call the bank," he snapped. "Tell them it was authorized. Right now." "I don't know what to say to them," I sobbed. "I need you here. Please, Travis. I don't feel safe." That's when the mask slipped completely. "I swear to God," he hissed. "I'll burn that house down with you inside it if you don't fix this." The call ended. My hand wasn't shaking anymore. My face was dry. Calm settled over me like armor. Rebecca looked up at me from the couch. "Is he coming?" "Yes," I said. "He's coming." I unlocked the front door and turned off the porch light. I wanted the house to look dark, quiet, frayed, like two victims hiding from a storm. What Travis didn't know was that this air wasn't just a freeze. It was a beacon. By the time he arrived, he wouldn't just be dealing with an angry sister and a scared child. He'd be stepping into the full weight of the United States government. He thought he was walking into a house of victims. He had no idea he was walking into a federal honeypot. He didn't knock. His fist slammed into the door like gunshots, the wood rattling in its frame as he screamed my name loud enough for the neighbors to hear. "Open the door, Julia. Stop hiding and give me my money." It was a performance. It always was. Travis had used the same tactic since we were kids. Be louder, be angrier, be first. If you screamed hard enough, people assumed you were the victim. Behind me, Rebecca stood in the hallway, clutching her tablet to her chest like a shield. She gave me one small nod. Ready? Did I open the door? Travis was flushed and sweating despite the cold, eyes wild, jaw clenched. Nicole stood just behind him, no longer angry, just scared, like someone who'd realized too late she'd boarded the wrong train. The moment the door swung wide, Travis shoved past me. "You think this is funny?" he shouted. "Freezing my accounts like that?" I closed the door calmly and turned to face him. The calm wasn't fake. It was the same voice I used in courtrooms when men twice my size tried to intimidate me. "Fix it," he snapped. Tell them it was authorized. He really believed he could bully his way out of this. Like he always had, I picked up the folder from the table and handed it to him. On top was the document he'd never expected to see. Treasury seal stamped at the top, bold text beneath it reading, "Federal wire fraud detected." His hands started shaking as he read. "When you moved $185,000 into a shell account," I said evenly, "you triggered a federal wire. That money was tagged the moment it left my account." He laughed, sharp and desperate. "You think you're smart. You set me up." Nicole looked at me, eyes wide. "That was bait money." "No," I corrected. "It was evidence." Travis snapped his head toward me. "You ratted on your own family." I stepped closer. "You're not family. You're a liability." He tried one last time, voice cracking. "I did it for us. Mom. For Rebecca." Rebecca didn't flinch. "You're not a hero," I said quietly. "You're a thief who stole from a disabled child." I tapped the paper once. "Your case number is 49B. And you're done." Red and blue lights exploded through the windows. Black SUVs blocked the driveway like walls sliding into place. Travis's arrogance collapsed in seconds, replaced by raw terror. "Julia, please," he begged, grabbing at me like a child reaching for a parent. "Help me." "I can't," I said. "You're unauthorized." The door burst open. Federal agents. Hands where we can see them. Cuffs closed around his wrists. Nicole Notes talked immediately, words spilling out before the engines even started. Travis screamed my name as they dragged him outside. Then the street went quiet. Rebecca broke the silence. "Is he gone?" she asked. "Yes," I said. She exhaled. "Good. Now we can buy the surgery." And we did. Travis got 15 years. Every dollar was recovered. Rebecca runs now. No pain, no limp, no braces. People ask if I feel guilty. I don't. I miss the brother I imagined. Not the man who stole from my child. Silence isn't lonely. It's peaceful. And sometimes protecting your future means amputating your past. Finally, thank you so much for watching. Please leave your feedback in the comments and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next story.